We are the old women, we are the new women, we are the same women, stronger than before. We are the old women, we are the new women, we are the same women, stronger than before. We are the old women, we are the new women, we are the same women, stronger than before. We are the old women, we are the new women, we are the same women, stronger than before. We are the old women, we are the new women, we are...
You want to know how we became successful crones?
You got it.
Good heavens, what a title.
I think that's exactly what we need.
How did you become a successful crone, General?
Well, I think it was probably just living out whatever presented itself. I think the choice one has to make is in accepting oneself at the age that one is. I have met many women, and my mother was like this, who felt that old age was a bad joke that was played on people, on women particularly, and a tragedy. And I can remember hearing her say so often to me, it's a terrible thing to grow old. And myself thinking, no, it isn't a terrible thing to grow old. It would be a terrible thing to be perpetually young.
Couldn't one use another word or a new word? I mean, it's very difficult to convince everybody that this word once had a bad meaning, but it's not meant to have it, and it could mean something else, and it's supposed to.
It's a pretty word, you know. Crone.
A lot of people have talked about the word crone being a very negative image, and we're struggling hard enough to raise ourselves from being a downtrodden group. Anyhow, why should we saddle ourselves with a bad name? But heck, we got all these other struggles. We might as well take on a new one too, and be crones and turn it around. The Quakers. That was a derogatory name for the Quakers originally, and they have taken that name and turned that around into something that is very respected and very powerful. And we can do the same thing with the word crone.
I grew up in a man's world. I had the kindest, sweetest father in the world. I never saw him strike a person. Hardly ever even raised his voice. But it was clear to me as a small child that he ran the show. He was the man of the house. And I don't remember when I first began to realize that this is wrong, but to me that feeling about women should have more power comes from my early childhood, when I realized my mother was quite powerless, except that she had a lot of creativity in having birthed 5 children without only one item of help from my father, what got it started. But that I think I've always thought of a crone or a witch as being a woman who could kick up her heels and live her own life, her own way.
I think every age has produced women who rose above where that age wanted them to be. Take Lucretia Mott. She had a huge family. She did all her womanly duties, but she also was empowered
to do many, many other things, which she did, and that's why our children love to sing about Lucretia Mott. And I think those are the crones. I don't think that just every woman who lives to be a certain age is a crone. The title I'd like to see is a crone. I think a crone is a wisdom carrier, and some just don't seem to gather wisdom as they go.
There is no beauty in a younger face that can compare to the beauty of an older woman's face. A woman who has lived deeply and loved deeply and loved life and enjoyed it. Those are the most beautiful faces of all. I don't think one should aspire to be a crone. I think one should aspire to be oneself at whatever age one is.
The great faith that we need is to know that what potential we have, the Creator wants us to use to the utmost. And if we don't have that kind of faith, we sometimes just limit ourselves very much. And it's too bad when really there isn't any limit in faith if we can follow through. And as Jesus said, you know, these things I do, but even greater you will do if you have the faith.
Take a risk. That has been a symbol to me for many years, because there were things I've been asked to do that I knew I could not do because I knew I didn't have that kind of power. And yet something would tell me, some voice, some feeling, risk. And what's that expression about the leap of faith? Yeah. And you go, and I've done it, and it's been fine.
I don't know how it came. It just gradually grew. And I think there was a purpose in what happened. There was a progression that was so much more wonderful than I could have asked for. If I'd planned my life 20 years ago and said, or 30 years ago and said, this is the way it should progress, I couldn't have done nearly as good a job as what happened to me.
It was already getting dark, and I walked up a hill all by myself, very calm and quiet. Suddenly on the top, the whole firmament was in my sight, a big moon and all the multitudes of stars. It was such an incredible impression that I suddenly felt this is the real whole universe and I'm a part of it. I felt I was a part of the moon, of the stars. It wasn't just something to see, it was an emotion, it was something to feel that gave you an impression that very rarely is so intense.
I found myself suddenly kind of overwhelmed with my situation, and I said the Lord's Prayer, and then I went back to my work. Well, in the morning, the whole thing had cleared up, as if somebody had taken whatever burden or problem had been erased, and the whole world was in light. Even the sparkling of the sun on the leaves was absolutely sparkling. And as we rode along, because we had to ride to the office through the countryside, I was in the Gulf of Mexico. I could feel the depth of the waters and the islands floating. I mean, it was such a magnificent experience. I thought, my heavens, what's happened to me? That the whole world is just so tremendous and has opened itself to me in all its beauty and wonder and majesty and mystery. And that lasted for several days.
The great Earth Mother came to me unexpectedly as an act of grace to see me through not so much the physical breaking of my body with the loss part of my femaleness with the mastectomy, with the psychological healing. And I had this sense that I came out of the Earth Mother, and I will return to the Earth Mother, and it doesn't matter whether it is now or later, but that every day is a gift, is a grace, is something to be lived fully and enjoyed. And the adventures that life sends are to be welcomed and embraced. And I have no fear of going back to the earth. The one thing I don't want is to be stuck away in a stainless steel coffin in a concrete vault. I want to go back to the earth and be part of the earth and to grow with the grass. And
I'm perfectly certain that I shall continue in some form of activity. I don't know which one or what, but there is that within me that knows that when Jesus said, I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, you shall be also. And he wouldn't lie to us. I know he's prepared a place for me. And I hope it's going to be pretty good. I'm trying to live right so that I'll pass the pearly gates.
I feel that even my cancer was a blessing. It taught me a lot of things. I have recovered completely, as I was promised at the very beginning of my illness I would, not by the doctor, but by a voice in my head that came at the same moment that the doctor was telling me my chances were very slim. So, you know, it's just happened. And I see the pattern, and I feel there is a guidance there, and that excites me.
I was very ill, and the doctors and nurses really didn't know whether they could pull me through or not. As I came down in this circular fashion, I saw other people who were in the same level of consciousness. That is, I felt akin to them. And they were different. Each time I got a little further down, they were different. Finally, I saw my body there on the table, and I took a breath, and my feet woke up. My feet were alive. And then I took another breath, and that went up my legs to my thighs. I took another breath, and my torso became alive, and my heart was alive. And I took one more, and I realized I was back on Earth. And the nurses and the doctors were yelling at me, Virginia, Virginia, wake up, wake up, and sort of shaking me. They thought I was going to die, you see. They were so wrong. And that was an experience that convinced me that there were these levels of consciousness. And what goes down can also go up. I expect to go up.
I live, in one very real sense, on borrowed time. I'm in remission from cancer. I have had 3 periods in coronary intensive care. I have lung problems, which was why we had to move from Chicago where the air pollution was so bad, resulting from a long bout with pneumonia. And I wake up with a tremendous sense of joy every morning that I have another day on this incredibly beautiful planet.
I'm not afraid to die. I kind of look forward to it, but I'm not ready to until the time comes. Oh, one thing I want to do is tell people one of the things I learned while I was in the hospital, which was very important to me, and that is that everybody in this whole world, no matter how we look at them, is unconditionally loved. And once you know that you are unconditionally loved, you can love other people. This was an experience I had in the hospital when I awakened from a dream and was just completely bathed in love. And it was a sense that stayed with me for 4 hours. I just basked in it. And the word came, this is for everybody. You're not special. This is for everybody. And the other word was, tell them. Tell everyone. Let them know that they are unconditionally loved. And they can go out and love other people unconditionally. And it'll change the world. It has to. There isn't any other way it can go if people love one another. So, if being a crone can help that, I'm certainly going to be a crone.
I know that death wears thy sting. Death is just one more experience. So I don't fear it. I'll stay here as long as I'm supposed to, but I hope nobody mourns me, because I will be having a ball.
Say farewell.
Farewell.
Go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down. My branches go up, reaching to the sky. My branches go up, reaching to the sky. My branches go up, reaching to the sky. My roots go down. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down.